I want to give a shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowler, and my Bibliomancers, and of course my new Bibliomancer, Stephanie. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support toward my hobby. Hi everyone, Petrik here. Today's video will be, I think, something new on the channel because I haven't done this kind of video before, although this will be something similar to my top 10 priority series that I want to start and finish next year. But I got this video idea from Mike's book review, and I think this is a good idea to have because personally, I like to make those kind of priority series video that I want to read next year in a way to hold myself accountable and also to remind myself that I have to read many of these series that, although I still have a lot of them anyway. But for this particular video, this will be regarding standalone books. I'll be talking about top 10 priority standalone books that I hope to consider reading within next year, because I do like to read standalone books as well, especially in between bigger series that I usually read. So this will be like a top 10 standalone or palette cleanser books that I would like to read and review within next year. There is only one rule that I'm going to apply to these books, and it is that they are not part of any series. These are all one-off standalone novels. They are not part of any world. They are only one book long at the time of recording this video. So yeah, I'm going to start from the first one. I'm quite confident that I'm going to love this one because this is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. Yeah, I have read and really enjoyed The Vanished Birds. It is a sci-fi novel, but this one I think is a bizarre fantasy novel. To be honest though, The Vanished Bird is already quite distinct and different enough from many sci-fi and fantasy books that I have read. But this one, I think it goes even further than that. But based on what I heard, people who enjoyed both The Vanished Birds and also Spear Cuts Through Water loved this one even more. And I think that is insane. I already love The Vanished Birds very much, and I don't know anything about The Spear Cuts Through Water except for the praises that it gets from Simon Jimenez fans. And based on how much I love The Vanished Birds, of course, I will definitely tackle this one within next year. And I think after I finish reading The Spear Cuts Through Water, I will make a video regarding Simon Jimenez books together with Evie. Evie is the one who gifted me both The Vanished Birds and also The Spear Cuts Through Water, and I cannot thank her enough for it. Very excited to read this one within next year. The Spear Cuts Through Water can be considered a modern fantasy, I think, because it is recently released. But for the next one, this is definitely a classic sci-fi or horror, I guess. But this is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Yes, I know what you're thinking right now. I haven't read Frankenstein yet. I already know the story of Frankenstein. I mean, it has been told so many times, but honestly, I haven't read Frankenstein at all. So yeah, this will be the first time I read this one, and this edition, I bought it a few months ago. This one came with an interior illustrations and also cover art by Bernie Wrightson. I think it is absolutely gorgeous though, like this one. This is the first interior illustrations, I think, and there are so many of them. I love this very much already. But yeah, looking forward to tackling the story inside this and find out why Mary Shelley is really that highly praised. And for the next one, it is not fantasy, it is not sci-fi, but it is historical fiction. A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor. Towles. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce the author's name. So this one is probably one of the most highly praised books that I know, and also there will be a movie adaptation coming from for A Gentleman in Moscow with Ewan McGregor playing as the main character. One of my co-bloggers, Celeste, who has a book talk account, told me that I will 100% love A Gentleman in Moscow because this book reminded her of The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón somehow. And well, The Cemetery of Forgotten Books is still, to this day, my favorite non-SFF series. So to have a one-off standalone novel that reminded me of The Shadow of the Wind, I think that is a good thing. And yeah, I look forward to reading A Gentleman in Moscow, preferably within next year before the movie adaptation comes out. And if you have read A Gentleman in Moscow and also The Shadow of the Wind, both of them, then do tell me, do you think this book reminded you of The Shadow of the Wind or not? Maybe it is based on the prose or the writing style. And of course, do tell me whether you love both of them or not. And moving on to the next one-off standalone novel that I possibly will read next year. This is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. And yeah, this is another historical fiction novel. And well, I have actually watched the TV show adaptation. it was brilliant. Loved the TV show adaptation very much. But apparently, there is one thing that I didn't know about the TV show adaptation. It is not finished yet. I think the TV show adaptation has adapted like the first half of Pachinko, and yeah, I still don't know the ending of the series. So yeah, rather than waiting for the second season to appear, which I have no idea when, I think I will just read the book from the beginning to the end next year. But based on what I've seen in the first season of Pachinko, I think it is a great story, and yeah, I look forward to reading it. Hopefully the book will be better than the TV show adaptation. But there are some, I think some viewers and also some readers who have mentioned that somehow the TV show adaptation is actually better because of the authenticity and also the acting and music. So I guess I'll find out for myself. So that's it for the historical fiction standalone novels. Now let's go back to talking about the fantasy and sci-fi standalone novels that I plan to read next year. And this one will be Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I think it is quite insane that I still haven't read Guns of the Dawn yet, because I think the first time I heard about Guns of the Dawn, it was all the way back in 2017 or 2018. But yeah, it has been years since the first time I heard about Guns of the Dawn, and so many people called this one, I think, Jane Austen with magic and guns. And I think many have mentioned this is one of Adrian Tchaikovsky's finest novels. So I have read 3 books by Adrian Tchaikovsky. He released a lot of books. I think I have read only like 10% of his catalog. I have read Children of Time, the sequel Children of Ruin, which I don't think is as good as Children of Time, but it is still a good book. And then The Doors of Eden. These 3 are all sci-fi novels. I haven't read his fantasy novel yet. So I think I will make Guns of the Dawn my first time reading Adrian Tchaikovsky fantasy novel. And this time I will be reading this together with Tori from Tori Talks. Yeah, because I got invited to her channel, I think last month or within this month. I can't seem to remember dates now. But yeah, I got invited to her channel, and then we got talking about standalone novels, and we were talking about Guns of the Dawn. And we are putting ourselves accountable that we will be reading Guns of the Dawn together next year. So Tori, if you're watching this, yeah, I'm putting your name here, so we will have to read Guns of the Dawn next year. Hopefully both of us will end up enjoying it. I know a lot of people really love Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And moving on to the next book, this one has a similar circumstance with Adrian Tchaikovsky books for me. So this is City of Bones by Martha Wells. As far as I know, this is a one-off standalone novel by Martha Wells, and recently Tor.com re-released and revised City of Bones with the new cover art illustrated by Jamie Jones. And yeah, I have the ebook for this one, and I look forward to reading this because I have read only the first book in Murder Bot series by Martha Wells, and I haven't read any of her fantasy books, even though Martha Wells has released a lot of fantasy books as well. She is usually most well known for her Murder Bot novels, but yeah, in reality, she has released a lot of fantasy novels as well. And before I tackle her series, I think I might as well start from her one-off standalone novel, and that is City of Bones. It is crazy, right, that despite how many books that I have read, I still have so many authors with a lot of books released that I still haven't read, and that includes KJ Parker. So the next standalone book that I will hopefully read next year, this is The Folding Knife by KJ Parker. KJ Parker, just like Martha Wells and also Adrian Tchaikovsky, has released a lot of books, and I haven't read anything by KJ Parker yet. But I think many people told me that it is a good idea to start from The Folding Knife because this is a one-off standalone novel. And I think I have heard that the main character is really compelling and morally gray. And beyond that, honestly, I don't know anything else. But yeah, I'm going to believe my instinct that this will be something suitable for me. The premise do sound interesting though, so if you want to know more about The Folding Knife, make sure to click the links I listed in the description down below. I still have 3 more priority standalone novels, and the next one, as I always mention in some of my SFF Spotlight, I think it is time for me to read something by T. Kingfisher. So this one will be Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. Yeah, this is a standalone novel. It just won the best novel in the Hugo Award 2023. And besides that, before it actually won the Hugo Award, which to be honest, I don't usually pay a lot of attention into Hugo Award. And for me, I think it is more important that word of mouth for a particular book can be good and promising for me. And that's what I got from Nettle and Bone. Based on the dark fairy tale premise of Nettle and Bone, I did not expect this novel to be one of my favorite novels, but who knows, it might just end up surprising me. And I look forward to reading more of Kingfisher's books, or Ursula, Vernon within next year. And yeah, Nettle and Bone will be a priority for me. And maybe the graphic novel Digger Unearthed as well. And let's move on to standalone book number 9. This is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. Yeah, I have always wanted to read this one for many years now, just like Guns of the Dawn. But this one, I heard it is dark, it is absolutely bizarre, and also, I think Scott Hawkins hasn't released any fantasy books since he created The Library at Mount Char. I have heard from plenty of readers who have read and reviewed and also loved The Library at Mount Char. They told me that I should read this one as blind as possible, with as little knowledge as possible. So I think I will do that, because right now I don't even know who the main character is. I don't even know what the premise of The Library at Mount Char is. All I heard is that it is absolutely amazing, it is dark and bizarre. It is supposedly very different from a lot of fantasy and sci-fi books being released in the market now. Although I don't think I will be reading all of these books that I listed in today's video, because these are all big consideration, like big priorities, but it all depends on my reading mood. But The Library at Mount Char has a really big possibility to be read by me next year. That and also Guns of the Dawn. And finally, the last book on today's video, the last priority standalone book. This one is not a new read, I guess, but due to the circumstance, I think it will be like an entirely new reading experience for me. And this is, just like Frankenstein, this is a classic. This is Kindred by Octavia Butler. So I have read Kindred a long time ago. I think I was still in, I think if I remember correctly, I tried reading Kindred for the first time when I was still in 4th or 5th grade. But yeah, I don't remember anything at all about this book. I just remember kind of vibing with the vibe. Because my English back then is definitely not as good as it is now, but I just like trying to learn English back then. So I read the Kindred in the library because I thought it looks interesting. So yeah, that's really the first time I read Kindred, but beyond that, I don't know too much about this story. And I have read Parable of the Sower and really enjoyed that one. Hopefully Kindred will be a better book. So yeah, that's it. That's the top 10 standalone or palette cleanser that I hope to read within the year 2024. I think one of standalone books like this or palette cleansers are absolutely necessary in order to prevent me from falling into a deep reading slump. I have never encountered a reading slump, and I think I owe that a lot to constantly changing genres and also sometimes reading standalone or palette cleanser. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. If you have read any of these books, do let me know what you think about them. And also, if not, what are some of your favorite one-off standalone novels that is not part of any series? The next video I'm going to post after this one will be my review for Demon in White by Christopher Rocchio, and then after that I will most likely talk about the top 20 most beautiful books and special edition that I own today, and then we will see what is next after that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.